The question to you really, or any technology founder, is how are you going to stand out? How are you going to attract attention from investors and potentially from customers in your offer? Well, going back to this number one skill that investors say that all founders should master in order to get investor interest, it is around the development of a compelling story around your startup. And I don't mean this is a 30-second commercial for a chronological order from when you started the company, how it was formed, what you did. It's not that. That doesn't engage the listeners. A compelling story should be inspirational. It should be giving them an impression of who you are, why you do what you do, why this matters and to whom, and why your team, your proposition, is the best positioned to take it forward. And the story isn't just useful in attracting attention from investors. It also helps you win customers. It also helps you give investors and partners a glimpse in how you're going to attract future talent, how you're going to bring in customers, and how you're going to develop future business partners as well. And the story's got to be bold and visionary, yes, but it's also, you want to show that it's backed by data. So if your story you feel is currently focused on the research journey you've been on and the combined experience of your team, then I suggest that it needs revisiting to make it more attractive, so that your story is one that resonates, is harmonious, and allows you to be seen for the rock star that you are. I warned you there would be some drumming and musical references. Now, we can dig a little bit into why this works, because stories are magical. We're kind of hardwired from our childhood to understand stories. And the amazing thing is, when you are telling a story, if you put the audience in the heart of your story, they actually unlock brain activity in the audience, so they imagine themselves in the story. And this creates an emotional response if the story is compelling enough. And that's really what you're looking for. You're looking for a story that the audience can see themselves in. It makes them feel that you're doing the right thing, you're solving a big enough problem, and it creates that emotional response which leads to action. No response, no action. So this is why it's so important to get this story right. And we can all tell stories, but the ones that are best at telling stories start with why they do what they do, not what they do or how they do it. So to put this into some context for you, a firm that is excellent at telling stories and positioning and telling the world why they exist is Apple. Apple doesn't say, we are manufacturers of the iPhone, it's designed sleekly and it's super efficient, etc. They don't tell you what they're making. They also don't spend too much time on telling you how. They don't say it's designed and innovative and it's user-friendly and all these sorts of other adjectives they could use. Instead, they focus their branding and their marketing on a very simple underpinning story. Think different. So this storytelling, starting with the why they exist to help people think differently, then leads them to say, and we do this through stylistic design and user friendliness, and we make a range of consumer products. But they don't start with the what, they always start with the why. So in your world as a technology founder, you need to pick apart, what is your passion? Why are you doing this? What's the end goal? What does the world look like with the problem you're addressing solved? Because ultimately, you have to show why people should care about what you're doing. Because this underpins a different way of marketing, where it's not the typical route of segmentation and trying to find audience sectors and then bombarding them with messages until they engage. What I'm advocating is that you position yourself by storytelling and telling the purpose of your company in such a way that your goal is to do business with the people that feel the same way about it that you do. So the people, the market, the investors that understand your why. So it is a radically different approach, but it does work. And this is what I help founders do in my offer, which is called Flightpath, which helps science and technology companies create a winning proposition and story in Fit to Fly, which kickstarts the marketing for the journey they're about to take to their next funding destination. My flight plan approach helps design a plan. It could be for fundraising, but it could be also for all the development that will be needed in order to be as attractive as possible to the investors that you're seeking. And finally, my final approach offer is basically helping companies implement that plan. So augmenting the founders team if they don't have the resource on staff with a network of expert providers who can help you safely arrive at your next funding destination.